Hello, everyone. This is the very first community podcast from Nerdy Up North. You're joined by me, Jake. We got Phoebes, and we've got Chris. And we're gonna talk about a little topic that everybody knows a lot about. It's a part of our lives. It's been forced upon us. I'm gonna check Webster's dictionary for the definition here of internet. Noun: an electronic communications network that connects computer networks and organizational computer facilities around the world, used with the except when being used. Oh no, cut that part out. Internet.
I think we literally just saw Jake's brain buffer.
Yeah, Webster's has got some funny terms that I don't know, but the first known use of this was in 1986, which is before I was born. So good on those scientific internet guys. But yeah, we're just gonna have a bit of a chat about what it's like to live on the internet. As you can see from the layout, we are inside of it right now. I'm in the classic, IBM microwave. Phoebes is in the nuclear computer.
Yeah. Proper box.
Yeah, and Chris is in a modern desktop because he's our modern Renaissance man.
I thought it was in me granddad's LG.
Yeah.
You could be. But yeah, I'll start us off with like a softball question. But what was, Phoebes? You can go first. What was your first sort of internet memories? Like, what kind of sticks out when you first had a go on a computer?
Yeah, I can remember. So my dad was very computer savvy. Sorry,
Nice. Mine wasn't.
Wanted to join. And he actually made us a computer game. It was like pixel animated computer game.
Wow.
Where you had to answer like either like really basic maths questions or like trivia facts about me and my sibling.
Otherwise, you didn't get your dinner that night.
And then if you got the questions right, you had a hot air balloon and that you got bombs that you could then bomb a dragon.
Okay.
To save the two princesses from the tower, which were obviously me and my sib.
Oh, that's amazing! I thought you were gonna say you got to bomb the family, the losers.
Yeah. Suck it. Our sibling rivalries they ran deep.
That's
but that's
amazing.
like my earliest computer memory, which is, I really wish I still had the floppy disk of it. It's one of those things that I just would like to have as like a artifact of technology, even though I have nothing that could play it now.
I wonder if you could try and recreate it, like in an RPG Maker type situation.
I think you could almost certainly recreate it in a Minecraft situation.
Nice. But Chris, how about you? What's one of your first memories?
Mine's not as wholesome. So, my dad, I don't know why, had got a home desktop computer, which is the family computer, under the stairs in the front room. And then my first memories is going on dial-up on a horrible website like steakandcheese.com and seeing weird people getting decapitated and stuff like that.
Who told you the URLs for those websites?
They would just go around school. But, did you see this on this website? I don't know. I'll write it out. http ...
Incriminating notes. Oh man, so you were like blasted in the face with the worst it had to offer immediately. What year would that have been?
Yeah.
Like 2002, 3 or something? I don't know.
Oh, see, that's quite late, isn't it? That's like...
Yeah.
The filth was embedded at that point.
And in a way, I'm glad, because I was thinking this was happening to you at like age 6. And I was like,
nah.
Oh God, poor sweet Christopher.
Oh man.
No, when I joined, it was just like it was them horrible websites, LimeWire, the dodgy accidental downloads from there. But you'd like get Linkin Park discography and you'd get like 8 megabytes of porn.
Mm-hmm. It took 3 days.
Monkey Island.
Monkey Island. That is wholesome, at least. We'll circle back to file share in a few minutes, I assume, but I think mine was in school, because I don't think we had any need in the house for a computer like widespread internet. So mine would have definitely been in school, where it was like, oh, the computer room's here, and you can Google like what's happening on WWF SmackDown tonight. But like back then, websites used to be fun, and it would play like the SmackDown music when you went on the front page, and it would almost crash the computer. But you were like, oh, this is a thing. It's not just information. Like, this is a media event site that I'm visiting.
Yeah. Do you remember like waiting patiently for images to load into websites?
And sometimes when it would have like
line by line.
Yeah, sometimes it would have like a song on, and you could just right click and download the song, because nobody cared back then.
Yeah.
Just like, this is fine. It's the internet is for sharing, and everyone comes together in harmony. And then it got like, oh, we can sell ads on every second of like every frame a human sees. There can be an ad on this thing.
I was thinking no one had figured out how to monetize our attention.
No, we just wanted to look at Pokemon and stuff and be like, who's this Pika-Blue guy who's been seen in the movie that isn't out yet?
And go on Neopets. Did either of you do Neopets?
I didn't do Neopets because I never had like a good enough family computer to play anything meaningful. Like maybe some PC demo discs that I got that had like I could like roughly play something, but in school it was like all that crap like Mario Teaches Typing and stuff like that, like edu games.
Yeah.
Oh no, I had RuneScape.
Oh, that's thrown right in the deep end of MMOs as well.
Yeah.
Why is this man shouting at me?
Because it was just like, do you know when they brought out RuneScape Classic? I was like, I remember this worse. This being worse than it is.
Oh,
so when it was like block hits another block kind of.
It might have been your specs as well, because like that's always something you had no idea about as a kid. Like, oh, how good is my Windows 95 like giant desktop? I'll never know. Nothing to compare it to.
But a speaker you can put your finger in though.
Having to load games in on multiple discs. I remember having like a Goosebumps game or something.
Yeah.
And you could only play half of the game on one disc, and then you had to take it out and put in another half.
Oh man, yeah.
The computer just couldn't run the full thing.
Some of my favorite games on those old, like, you know, like the school PC and stuff were just those weird point and click games, which I feel like it wouldn't really hold your attention or children's attention these days, where it was just like, I'm gonna click, it's like, it's Arthur, like the Aardvark game. I'm gonna just click on the characters and they'll say a line, and then I'll move to the next screen. Or like Busy Town, it's like, what's that worm in an apple car up to this week?
I had the Magic School Bus games as well. Like me and my... I'd be lost hours and hours and hours to.
But you were literally just clicking, like you were clicking, like I guess MP3s or whatever, triggering.
Yeah. Basically, just clicking facts is what it was.
Yeah. Oh, and Carter as well. That was a big hit. That was a disc-based video encyclopedia. Everyone who's too young to know.
Oh, I had that, and I wasted hours of my life on there.
I'm gonna look at this giraffe page again. Oh, wolf spider.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's like it's in the room with me.
It better never be in the room with me. But yeah, like what I remember about early internet is you also had to get free trial discs from like the supermarket.
Yeah.
For like it wasn't a free trial. It was like you paid £1 and you got like a week's worth of internet on a disc, and it was like that was how you just kept trying it. By 2002, that might have been out the window though. I'm not sure.
I also remember having like my mum being like, "Can you get off the computer because I need to make a phone call."
Yeah, because
like, there was one line.
Yeah, because that noise we made at the start is what would be playing through the phone if anyone picked it up. It's like that's how old computers would send information. Like it's the same with that's what the dial tone is to like connect to another phone. Like there's actually like information stored in the like the musical notes
in the analog
kinda.
signal.
Yeah.
Which
means if you were like, nefarious, you can actually, or you could back in the day, like pump sort of sounds through a phone that would be able to like do like, affect computers and things like that. Or like, bypass the city's, like thing that would actually charge you money and stuff like that. It's crazy, and now everyone just uses apps and has no idea how complicated anything is in the background. But also another big memory for me is MSN after school. So you'd finish chatting to all your friends, you'd all run home, log on to MSN and chat some more.
MSN Messenger, and then just speak to exactly the same people until like midnight. And I don't know if like if you guys ever had like the MSN like maybe this is just like a thing that happened with my friends, but you'd be chatting and someone would be like, so what do you think of so and so? Yeah. And then suddenly they're there in the chat room and they're like, I was here all along.
I don't know if I ever
just
got
after you've like been trapped.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever got caught in a sting operation like that, but
yes,
it was. I was about to say like, because you were like, yes, it's a chat. You're chatting to the same people, but you're also having one-on-one chats with everyone, and people that you would never normally have a one-on-one chat with. And you'd be like getting to know people, but then you would show up at school the next day and would pretend like they never talked to you because it was just well, I'll talk to you on the internet, but not in person.
No, and I had this kid at school who I think I spent hours and hours talking about Eric Clapton guitar solos with him.
Very on brand.
And I think I know, just went down a rabbit hole, and then like the next day, just like didn't make eye contact with each other at all. And I remember thinking,
because it was the dad.
That's weird.
Yeah, no, it was the social embarrassment. It got like wiped away when you were like on the computer.
Yeah.
But you'd be like, like, oh, do you want to be my girlfriend? Like, yes, and then you would get like in person, like, who are you? Like, no. the social pressure. Oh, Chris, did you do chat rooms, or were you just looking at like death?
Yeah,
faces of death.
I did have a. Well, in between snuff films, I did go on MSN, but it was a totally different experience.
I bet you were a troll.
It was all like, I said, oh no, right? Because can you remember when everyone used to have personalized statuses like, having a good Friday and like clip art?
Well, it was song lyrics, but yeah.
Well, people, but I remember there was loads of drama where if someone wasn't talking to someone, but they wanted people to know, but they didn't want to tell them, they would be like, oh, I am really mad at K *****. So then obviously people would be like, what's going on here? And I was just like,
what's Chris done?
This is the origin story of how Chris needs to know everything about what everyone's doing. He got hooked in those days and be like, there's drama to be found in every chat.
Yeah, but really, it's just like it's the digital version of like writing on a toilet store. Like, do you know, like where you're just like, so and so's a slag, and so is X.
Yeah. But through the internet, there's like a weird. I know I could talk to them outside in person, but there's a weird anonymity.
Yes.
Yeah. When they're talking like in a MSN chat. So I don't know. It was different.
And again, like Phoebes was saying, you didn't know if there was like little groups hanging out in the chat rooms, like multiple people chatting to you. Like it was very much like it wasn't where everyone had the phone, so you can kind of guarantee you're talking to the right person. Like if someone's replying. Yeah. But back then it was like, I don't know, it could be someone's sister or anything could be going on.
Yeah.
Well, little brother stole my keyboard.
Yeah, going to a friend's house and seeing they were still logged in.
And which boys they were talking to.
And just being like having overwhelming joy that it's like, oh, I've got access to so and so's account. Let's come up with a really stupid I have syphilis.
Yeah.
In school.
Yeah.
But I don't know when those days ended, but I bet we spent so much money on the pay by the minute dial up, trying to like chat, trying to jump the social ladder slightly by talking to the right people. But I think the horrible website thing kind of passed me by. Like I wasn't that interested, if I'm honest. Like I obviously heard
You
people
never
talk.
found Goatsy?
Never found what?
No?
Goatsy?
Oh yes, but that was more like late school, sort of, like year 12 time. I feel like.
I think during that time it was a lot of beheading videos. Mostly. Saddam Hussein's video was a bit.
I was about to say. Yeah, I was about to say it's because of all the war crimes.
Yeah.
Chris was learning about politics from the real news, not the mainstream media.
From our correspondents in the street.
Some guy with a video camera and a way to put it on his PC or whatever, get it on the dark web. But yeah, like I just remember it being cool, and there was all these different websites you would log on to, and over time we somehow just got funneled into like 3 websites. Like so like Facebook, YouTube, and like whatever's the instant
MySpace.
Yeah, or like whatever's the sort of Twitter equivalent that you enjoy these days. Like we even lost Twitter as a place to hang out and divided everyone. But MySpace was excellent because that was probably like the first social media, really, wasn't it? It didn't even have a name. We didn't know what we were doing on there. Picking your 5 best friends. Which is so messed up when you think about it.
Oh my god, the politics at play for like, am I going to add so and so to my top? Have they added me to their top 5?
Yeah,
if
check
I
first.
add them and they don't add me, do I replace? Yeah. Like, I can't be the first person to add them.
And we could never talk and organize this. It has to be unspoken.
Oh, absolutely. We can't. If the minute you mention it, you're out of everyone's top 5. That's the rule. It's like Fight Club.
Yeah, so and we all like coded horrible backgrounds in full of like in jokes or like bullshit, and we had like a song. You could pick a song that played on the. I think I was like already into like metal at that point, so it would just be like something horrible to like, this is gonna screw with the normies if they click on my page.
Me and
take some
my friends
breed.
had like a band that we made, which wasn't really a band. It was just us, and we played around in like Audible for like free for a bit, and had like, and to this day the memory of it fills me with such incredible embarrassment. You just triggered me. Like I've got like a visceral reaction because that was the song that was a song about being lost in space, but emotionally. And like, to this day, I'm like, I hope that has been like deleted as an unused account.
So that's interesting,
really
right? No, I do want to talk about this kind of thing, but so the internet did allow people to sort of share like creativity and like actually put their feelings out there. I think as a young boy, like growing up in the 90s, I saw that and I was like, I definitely don't want to put any of my feelings out there like these other people.
Oh.
I am gonna completely like switch off and only use this for joke purposes. Because our MySpace band page was called Albert Qaeda, which dates it to a certain time, with their seminal song Meat Sweats. So there was no introspection there, but Chris would have liked it, I think.
Yeah, probably.
We thought that was the funniest band name in the entire world.
He landed there hoping for a beheading. And then been like, what's this?
But I just never. I think it was just the MSN era kind of taught me. It was like, oh, some of these people are totally fake. Like, Therefore, I can't
Yeah.
show them my heart.
I think there was something that I learned. I kind of had I had a compartmentalization
Yeah.
lesson, similar but different in that I realized you could have different personas depending on where you were. So
Right.
like I had at one point a live journal,
Mhm.
which was like some of my worst, most depressing,
Yeah, yeah,
like poetry. I probably had poetry on there.
yeah.
It would have been bad, but there's no way it could be linked to me.
Wait, Chris is
And
in
that
the
was
Wayback
fine.
Machine as we speak.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Absolutely not telling you.
Oh. Is it like Phoebe the Angel or something? Phoebe
No,
the Angel
no.
666.
No, because I'm not an amateur. I've been hiding my secret feelings for years. But then, like, you form like friends. But what I find weird about the internet, and I think to this day, there's like you have different friends for depending on what different internet spaces you're in. So,
Yeah,
like on my live journal, it was lots of other people doing that, like very awful, heart wrenching. Probably should just be kept it private thought.
yeah, yeah.
Like
But
overshared trauma dumping
yeah,
versus like the people you have on Twitter.
yeah, like the shit posters, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, do you find that was like a symptom of kind of the era? Like if everyone was kind of getting into the emo spirit, it was just like, this I'll jump on this. This seems like a good outlet. Or was it just something you like needed to do? Was it like inside you, it needed to come out sort of thing?
I think I would love to blame it on the era.
Yeah.
I would really love that. I do think there's also something about being a teenager and trying to figure out who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
In a world where you have more information than any other generation has had before you.
Mm-hmm.
That probably meant that they were lots like being able to experiment in different spaces on who you wanted to be and how you wanted to express yourself. And also leave sections of it behind to never be visited again.
And I was going to say, like, girls have it awful on the internet. They always did. Me and Chris had an easy ride, I feel like, apart from the fake girlfriends, like getting your heart crushed. But that happened to everyone. But yeah, like, fair enough. I don't care, Chris.
Have you genuinely got a story about a fake girlfriend on the internet?
Yeah, that's what I was saying on MSN. You'd be like, well, I don't know how much there is to tell, other than like, you talk and you're like, you talk for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then you finally ask, and then it's like, and then like, yeah, they'll like agree, and then like a few days later, it's like, actually, I've changed my mind type of thing. Like the reality hits.
That's not a fake girlfriend. That's just a very short relationship.
That's just people who. I feel. That's just I just chalk it up to that's just kids who have no idea what they want.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to have a girlfriend when you're in school, because what can you do? Like go out on Saturday, like in your one free day a week. Like it's just when you're too young to actually.
One free day?
Well,
what are you doing on Sunday?
Sunday dinner, man.
That is the most northern thing I've ever heard.
Exactly. But I did enjoy the file sharing era, because I felt like that was when I just forgot all of the social elements existed, and I was like, oh, hang on a sec. Now we can download songs, and I can drag and drop a song into the MSN chat, and I can be like, listen to this. And, it would obviously take half an hour for them to download it. But in half an hour, then you can be like, yeah, System of a Down, singing about Legend of Zelda. Like, that's the good shit.
Here's this bootleg Serge Tankian solo show that he did in Chicago.
How many new Weird Al songs just came out of nowhere? Because no one could be bothered to be like, other people can write parody songs too. Like, nope, it's just all Weird Al.
I'm okay with that.
Can you
I have a lot of time for Weird Al.
Can you specifically remember like any songs you discovered like in your friend groups that nobody else seems to know? Because one of ours was like, was it like they were called Group X, I think, and they did like the Mario Twins song where it was just like two guys being like like really out of time drums and stuff. But we just thought that was the funniest shit in the entire world.
Oh my god,
I did quite a lot. Have you ever heard? I can't remember who sings it, but Skeletor versus Beastman and Mustard Man and all that stuff.
That rings a bell. I think I've probably seen that in the list and never bothered to like spend 3 days downloading it.
It's like some sort of CKY kind of era thing.
Yeah, like
where it's kind of like a velo rap thing over a guitar. It was weird, but it was like stupid little songs. I discovered so many of them, and a couple of metal bands like Angels and Demons or some shit like that.
This was definitely
Court of the Crimson King and that.
Yeah, this was definitely the era where like the older boys in school that we became friends with would be like, hey, have you ever heard Slayer? Have you ever smoked weed? And we're just like, no. Pantera was popular with us as well. Like, listen to this Pantera song. Like, it's called Cowboys from Hell.
We had in my friendship group, it was a lot of Weeble and Bob.
Oh god, yeah, that stuff.
Be like, Napa. Just like someone would say that, and we'd all just laugh like our tits off in the middle of like a classroom because of like the latest Weeble and Bob thing that come out.
Yes, so what you're saying is our generation invented memes where you would just shout "Gotzi" and everyone would be like, the teacher would be like, "What's that, man?"
And then the other one, Salad Fingers, was the other one. Just like continued, and the Charlie the Unicorn. Do you remember Charlie the Unicorn?
Oh yeah.
I think
Neopluridon.
Yeah, we're going to Candyland, Charlie. Yay!
I mean, the funny thing is you can find all these still on YouTube, luckily.
Yeah, I know.
For those nights when
Sometimes
you get
I go back.
Yeah, when you get drunk and you're like, no, I'm going to watch this again.
Yeah. You're chatting to an old school friend and you're like, want to go down memory lane with me?
And they're like, no, I have a job and a family. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, I have a job and children and responsibilities. And I'm like,
the file sharing like system. Okay, which file sharing program was your preferred? Mine,
like a torrent. I was a LimeWire for me.
Really?
And also we used a lot of TeamSpeak.
Ooh, TeamSpeak. That's the good shit.
In like, yeah, because we were using that because it was so low at like obviously, and we were playing like Guild Wars, I think at the time, and using a lot of TeamSpeak because it was the only thing that wouldn't like grind your computer to a halt.
Yeah, like super low, like low. What do you call it? Like bandwidth.
Low bandwidth.
Chat. Yeah. It's kind of what Discord's like tried to be, but they're kind of getting a bit bloated now.
Like I think, and there's something about just having it just needs to function.
Yeah,
that's all it needs to do. It doesn't have to look pretty.
Yeah,
it just needs to share things we need it to share.
See, I feel like we didn't get into like online chatting in my friend group. This might have just been like a nobody knows what's on PC sort of thing because we're all playing consoles. But I feel like it was the Xbox 360 that unlocked the whole like, oh, you can just sit and have a phone call through the internet. But Chris, what about you? What was your file sharing like torrent program of choice?
I did use LimeWire, and I think later on it was FrostWire.
Ooh, FrostWire. I remember the logo for that. I think that rings a bell.
Yeah.
I could never get LimeWire to work. Like, it would just grind my PC to a halt, so I could never really... I didn't even get to the downloading viruses part. Like...
Oh, did you know? Mine was riddled. There was also a weird one I remember called BearShare.
But I remember BearShare. I was just thinking, it was a bear going like... as the logo.
Yeah, okay.
Called. Of course, it's just BearShare.
I remember, weirdly, there was a chat function on there.
Oh, they did sometimes have side chat, like like MMO world chat. They did sometimes have that on torrent programs. Mine.
I find
that was
it
weird.
like having chat on a Pornhub or something. It's like, I'm not here to see what you're watching. I've come here looking for specific things. So tell me what you think about it.
Okay, so the one I used for very similar TeamSpeak reasons was called WinMX, which was the Windows Music Exchange. And that was just very basic, like white text on black background, but file sharing. It still had a search box and everything. But yeah, like I couldn't get any of the sort of the mainstream ones, but looking at WinMX just makes me want to listen to I don't know, the Mario Twins again. But yeah, like I love that part about old computers though. You had to really work with what you had hardware wise, and there was no getting around it. Like you couldn't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the computer shop, or like I'm just gonna go on Amazon and buy a new stick of RAM. It was like, no, this is all I've got. I'm gonna have to make it work no matter what. But did you guys ever get into like any like doing like hardware changing on your PC? Because I feel that's something that totally passed me by.
I think the closest I got was playing around with different external hard drives. So I remember like all of like LimeWire and Bash, like all of the torrent stuff. I had like a hard drive specifically for like that was just like full of like stolen music and dodgy books and things like that.
But it was in a like a prison cell that you could disconnect from the mainland whenever you wanted to.
and I remember I also put my coursework on it, and I also had some like porn, and I was about 16, 17, about to do my GCSEs, and it broke, and I was like, all my coursework is on there, but if in order to get the coursework, I'm going to have to give it over to a tech person who's going to see my 16-year-old like porn collection. and then after that I was like so embarrassed by the experience, like, and the guy, because he came, like, he was like Geeks on Wheels or something it was called, and the guy came to the house, and I remember like having this really awkward conversation with him while my mum was in the room being like, so like in terms of data protection, what's that about? And he's like, well, we don't tell anyone what you've got on there. And I was like, okay, good.
You should have just been like, can you just get me the Word files and we'll call this a day. Torch the rest of it, please.
Could you just make sure that you don't look at any of the pictures or videos? And I was so like traumatized by that experience. It took me a long time before I was like ready to play around with like hard drives and things again. Because I was just like, I can't go through that twice.
That's a thing I've learned from like working office jobs, that a lot of generations have real trouble with organizing files on a Windows PC. I don't know if I'd never really used a Mac. I don't know if it's like easier on there or something, but like, you know, we had computers, we weren't always allowed to go on the internet because it cost money. So sometimes you would just sit and play with the Microsoft Office programs and be like, oh, how does this work? Oh, I'm organizing some images. I'm like, you know, saving things as I'm changing. Like we actually had time to sit and do that because there wasn't much else to do.
Yeah, it's equivalent of reading the shampoo bottle on the toilet, isn't it?
Exactly. And do you remember like at one point, like Clippy, the little clip?
Oh yeah,
paper clip.
Love that guy.
At one point, you could download different versions of him, and we had like we managed to find like a little dog, and he'd just chase the mouse around the screen, and we'd just do that for a while. Yeah,
and it's the most inconvenient thing. Again, Phoebes, you've just triggered another memory because I had some pretty great, thinking about it now, like weird programs that, like, you know, like licensed like property programs that you would put on the PC. One of them was a South Park desktop that changed all of your desktop to like have South Park like icons for like your recycling bin and stuff. It also changed all of the system noises to like South Park music and quotes and stuff. The most annoying thing in the entire world. I'm sure to my parents as well.
Yeah.
I had something similar, but it was Gundam Wing. And when the computer when the computer loaded up, it was the pilot from
Yeah.
Gundam Gundam 01 yelling, "I'm going to kill you" in Japanese. I was like, so like getting up in the morning going, I'm going to put some music on before I go to school, and then you just hear this really loud anime threat.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what kill you is. They say it often enough in things I watch. Something like Kurosuke or something like that. I don't know.
If I heard it again, I'd be able to like recognize the sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's lost to time, I think.
Oh, but as soon as you watch that episode one day, you'll be like, ah, that's it. Yeah, like the South Park desktop was annoying. That did slow down the computer as well. But like I bought the disc and it's like I'm gonna have to use it because I bought it. Did you ever mess with that, like Chris, like changing the system sounds or screwing with stuff?
No, because I think the computer was too shit. It ran a couple of games, but like we did have LimeWire later on, but my dad worked on a shop floor, so it was kind of like there's always one person selling dodgy DVDs, dodgy games, dodgy stuff like that. So you just spend £1 and buy a CD. So,
yeah.
Oh yeah, like my family's like worked in call centers, and there's always someone there who had like a list of CDs you could get off them for like £1 each.
Yeah. Yeah.
My Limp Bizkit CD that I possibly still own, like the one with Rolling On and stuff, was a copy with like, you know, a printed piece of paper just stuck on the front of the disc.
Yeah.
You could do that back then. You could just buy CDs and be like, friends, would you like this album? Because I've got 50 CDs on this spool. So
all of them scratched.
All of them scratched. I had Outlaw Star, which is an old anime as well. One of my friends just came because I'd talked about it, and then the next day they came in and offered it to me, and I was like,
and a DVX or whatever they were called. Like, or DVR,
and
sorry.
I was quite genuine. Yeah, I was like, that's actually quite sweet, thank you. It was on like 12 discs though, because again, like the memory kind of organization was just not so good.
I can't remember exactly how many videos
I accidentally bought them off eBay.
Oh, like bootlegs, like
Yeah, I got a copy of Elfin Lead. I think it's something like 15 episodes or something like that. But it came in like a DVD box, and it had about 3 or 4 discs just stacked on top of each other. It was so shit. I was wounded.
Old eBay was excellent, man. When you could actually get deals on there and stuff, and it wasn't just like too commercialized where it's just shops selling items in a different place.
Or people selling novelty lighters.
Yeah, for way too much money. Hey.
You'll not be laughing at us when I'm lighting things on fire in style when we beer bottle.
No, I won't be.
I'll be worried.
I'm gonna be in awe, I'll tell you. But yeah, like eBay used to be able to get like pyro for the anime club panel. It's all sorted. Me and Chris will just jerry rig all of the lighters together with one gas source. Stay tuned. But yeah, so eBay used to be good, is what I'm saying. It used to be like, you know, going to a car boot sale and actually finding like hidden gems and stuff. But I had the total opposite experience where I was like, I'm gonna buy the cartoon or the anime Yu-Gi-Oh, like, you know, the English version on DVD on eBay. I was like, oh, this is like $10.99 or something. This seems like a good deal. And the person who'd done it, who'd bootlegged Yu-Gi-Oh up to like before Battle City, for the real ones who know that, he'd actually done a full DVD case and even a plastic sleeve to cover the you know, like the design he'd printed on and stuff. Yeah, it was actually like really well done. I don't think I've still got it, but you know, thank God for that guy and his good eBay deals.
Yeah.
It was the same with this is way later on, but you know those amiibo figures, the Nintendo ones that have like data on them. Like early on when they came out, people just found a way to rip the information off them, and then people would just put chips, load the information on, and put them in like plastic cards, and you could just buy like every amiibo for like 10 quid. But then people cottoned onto that, and now it's like 10 quid per for my custom amiibo card. Like the internet just moves so fast now. You've got to jump on things immediately, otherwise it just gets like ruined. Like there's so many hobbies that end up way too expensive now because the internet blows them out of proportion. It's like, I'm sure loads of old like anime like DVDs and stuff are insanely pricey now online just because of like,
I hope so. I've got loads.
Have you really? Like from back in the day, like Ninja Scroll and stuff like that.
I've got that in Steelbook and everything. I've got Vampire Hunter D, all that sort of stuff. But that was when you'd go around HMV and get like the 3 for 15 or something.
Oh,
yeah. World Cinema section, anime.
You'd be the only one there.
Yeah. All the weird action films that you'd also get, like the martial arts ones, like The Good, the Bad, and the Weird.
Yeah.
I can remember picking up.
The pawn shop used to have them as well, and sometimes you would get like two movies on a double-sided disc or something as well, where you were like, oh, it's Drunken Master and Drunken Master 6 or something. The only ones that can afford.
Yeah.
Drunken Master, the new generation.
Oh, but do you know what you're on about the internet making hobbies so expensive as well?
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of weird restoration videos on TikTok where there'll just be just a man. He just you'll find like a antique French sausage mincer, and he'll be like deburring it, cleaning it up, like putting new bolts in.
I think I've seen this guy. I've seen a similar guy where he restores like old toys, like this antique metal bread van, and he like takes all the pieces apart and repaints them and stuff.
Yeah, I love it when they strip off the paint, and then you see the raw metal that they like polish up and then repaint it, and it
like they put it in like an electric bath as well. They're just like, oh, I know crazy stuff's going on in that acid or whatever.
I've got one of them electric baths and a sandblaster, and I was just like, right, I could do this like for fun. And then but you look on eBay and all the secondhand sites, and they're like vintage for refurb, and they'll add an extra like 60 quid on, 50 quid, and it's like it's shit. It's worse than that Pokemon card scalpers and that.
Yeah.
But and also it's like that thing that this is literally something broken. I'm selling it as a broken thing.
Yeah.
And because of that, I can charge extra.
Yeah.
There's something about like I agree, like hobbies, like especially anything that's to do with collecting physical goods is a nightmare of a field to like, especially if you're on a budget. There's something kind of ingenious about the hustle of the internet. Like I admire like some people just taking something like that and like finding a way to just like
I like the
Could you
hustle.
imagine in the
Sorry.
I was just saying, can you imagine in the early noughties, if you try to sell something broken on the internet, you'd get laughed off. You'd be like, I'm not buying a broken sausage mincer. What are you on about?
You get angry messages on your YouTube, your eBay account. But I was going to say, like, as well, I do admire the hustle where someone is like, I'm going to take my incredibly niche interest and like nicely film it and just put it out there. Like, the refurb man. Because like, you can tell he cares, because he could buy a refurbed version of this for way cheaper than it costs him to like sit there and do, but it's because it's like for the love of the craft, and that's what I love, that you get to see. I mean, people will get up to anything online just because they've got some extra time or a spark of an idea that goes too far.
And I'm a huge fan of anyone who has spent hours. Like, if you've spent 1,000 hours perfecting a thing, I don't care how boring it seems to the rest of the world. I want to hear about your experience because you love it enough that you've sunk it in. And having the internet allows you to find. Like, for a while, I got weirdly into watching people make dollhouse miniatures.
Yeah, like
Because,
make them
watching...
from scratch. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's watching people build like teeny tiny sculptures.
Yeah, definitely.
and paint them up in like. It's the same with like D&D terrain and stuff. I could watch that for hours online.
Oh, really? I've never gone into like the watching terrain building type of stuff, but
I love it, to the point that I've got an old doll's house that I have just from my childhood that I haven't used, and it's just been sitting on top of a cupboard, and I've taken it down and I'm slowly turning it into a tavern.
Oh, you know what? I was literally just about to say, like,
based on stuff I've seen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, has anyone done that on like the miniature scene? Brought out the doll's house and been like, "Oh, we're opening up so you're now inside the house," and everyone's miniatures have to hop around the stairs and stuff.
All I want is to play dolls with my friends, but teeny tiny.
Yeah, and now dolls have magic powers and dark backstories.
And huge fucking swords.
And huge asses.
Hell yeah.
D&D is something I would have never known about without the internet, because that was never in my friends group at all. And here I am sitting buying RPG books and even playing D&D over the internet, or like a version, like we're playing a different RPG, but it's in the fantasy RPG realm, and I don't think I would have the time or ability to pull that together in real life. So that is an awesome thing that I've discovered through the internet. Same with like, I hate to get like Sophie for a second, but you guys as well, like there's no way we would be talking. It's possible I would have walked past Chris at the supermarket since we live in similar areas, but like there's no way I would have met any of like the Nerdy Up North crowd or anything. Like I knew a couple of them vaguely beforehand, but yeah, no, there wouldn't be like D&D games or like chatting, podcasts, like making anything, music, videos, silliness. Like none of that would exist if we were all just sat in our houses with video cameras that couldn't go online.
We'd all have had to watch Eurovision alone yesterday.
Yeah. Shouting at the TV.
So sad.
Ooh, that country.
But I know like none of us are like full scale, content creators or like influencers and stuff, but how have you guys like found like creating stuff on the internet in this day and age? Like like I guess we've been messing about for like about 2 years now, but like is this something you followed other people doing in the early days, or is it something that's more recent years? Like I don't know. Has anyone got any thoughts?
I was just watching Chris's gears turn. I'm curious because it looks like there's a thing occurring.
Yeah. So I've followed quite a few people where they've been relatively small and then they've gone big.
All right.
But it's took like a few years of work, and it is like a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not particularly bothered if people watch stuff that I put out.
Yeah, screw you, audience.
Like yeah.
That's the spirit.
I kind of like just making it. Like
that's good.
If there wasn't an internet, I wouldn't be doing it because I wouldn't have had the idea to do it. But
yeah,
I kind of like the game of it a little bit, even with the social media side. But I like the learning stuff on the Photoshop or the Premiere and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I see that kind of stuff as like tools of the trade almost. Like I'm not like using any of this stuff in a job really, apart from like interpersonal skills and presenting skills probably comes in handy every now and then. But I do enjoy learning computer programs and being like, okay, I've got a rough idea on this. I can use some audio software, use some video, mess around. Like I love OBS like so much. I just find it like the most fascinating and useful like computer program I've used in like years, and it feels indie and great. Like it's a sort of small team of people who put it together. It's free, you can bolt anything you want onto it. Like I love like that part about it. But yeah, it's tough trying to, I suppose, like, we're not really competing, but we're in a big like sea of people out there who are all making content, and we're kind of competing in ways, like, as in there's a lot of people doing what we do.
Yeah, I kind of like doing things and seeing what happens to them.
Yeah.
Like changing thumbnails, titling videos differently, and how that affects people coming in.
Yeah, because we've got on the like, Paul's got on the AI train of, like, I'll let the AI figure out the title for this video. Whereas I just read a couple and I was like, okay, I see what the AI is putting down. I just kind of like aped the style. Like, I don't know what we'll call this one yet, but it'll probably be like Origins of the Internet. Find out what life on the internet in 2025 is like.
Can old people use computers?
It always has to be a ridiculous question or statement. Then the real thing. Yeah, that's interesting, because I kind of hate the social engineering side of it, or it moves too much for me to want to focus too much time on it. Like, it feels like it's never in a place where I could learn anything about it. It just feels like throwing stuff at the wall.
The knowledge isn't fixed, and that's challenging, because it means you have to be continuously in a learning cycle, which can be utterly exhausting.
And when I've like dug into those Reddits for like, it's the like r/small YouTubers, like, they just all seem insane and really angry about the algorithm.
Everyone's so angry. Yeah. I think I fall somewhere similar to Chris. It's like, I'm doing this because I'm enjoying it. I actually, like, if other people enjoy me enjoying this, that's beautiful, lovely, welcome. You're so welcome. Come join me. But even if it's like, if I'm shouting into a crowded void, I kind of don't really care, because I'm really enjoying the ride.
Yeah, that's true. And I suppose, like, we're building skills, and if one day that opportunity does come along to speak on a bigger platform, then we're ready. Like, we're not just like deer in the headlights, or and without putting yourself out there at all, you can't really go any further, can you? So but
no, I think there. Oh, sorry, no. You go
for it. Go for it.
No, I was just going to say, because I think there's something. I'm going to get really mushy now.
Do it.
Particularly with the Nerdy Up North stuff. So as life does, it throws a few things your way, and you're like, over time, stuff knocks your confidence, right? And you think, oh, I'd love to be able to do that, but I never could. Mm-hmm. Like, I spend a lot of my time on the internet, but I have always felt like not so much a participant, but just kind of like a lurker in the background.
Yeah, like observer. Yeah.
And then doing stuff with like Nerdy Up North, and I think in particularly the anime club stuff, if you don't mind me like gassing you up a bit,
away.
Chris. Like doing stuff with Chris, it's like we just have a giggle. Yeah. And often I'll finish recording with like a huge smile on my face, because I'm just like, Chris has just made me laugh so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'd never be able to sit in front of a camera. Like, I'm just not good enough. No one's going to want to watch it with me. And it just feels deeply uncomfortable. But if you're having fun, it kind of doesn't matter. And I've noticed that by doing that stuff, my actual confidence in real life, as I walk through the world and walk through my job and stuff, has actually quite dramatically changed. And I think because of that, I think the internet is a beautiful place, because it does allow people who are a little bit awkward, a little bit weird, to find like a tribe that they wouldn't normally find. Like, there's no way I would have like met a bunch of people from Sunderland. Do you know what I mean?
No, true.
Brighton. I literally could not be further away from you guys and still be in the country.
And yet we all have like so much in common, which is one of those things where it's just like, it's crazy that like you'd think I guess people do gravitate towards like eventually. But yeah, like I feel definitely similar. Like I've definitely come out of my shell since joining like Nerdy Up North, which is nice, but I've always had all of these ideas in my head, and I've always like known I could do it, and I've always wanted to do it, but you feel like, but I couldn't do it. Like I'm not good enough or important enough to give it a go. And when I saw Paul and Sammy, like they actually did say at one point, like, it doesn't matter that, we're doing nerdy podcasts about Back to the Future. There's like already probably like thousands of those. Like, it doesn't actually matter, like, that part. It's like, we're just gonna do it to have fun with it because we want to. And like I'd been like thinking about podcasts for years and being like, but I don't have an idea that no one else has done. And it's like, you're kind of never gonna find that anymore on the internet. There's a few, you can like hit on a few things that maybe has never been like, done before, like, like gamified like thing, but like by and large everything's been chatted about, especially like every like media property. And that just sort of unlocked it. I was like, it doesn't actually matter to, like, being unique isn't the thing you need to be like to enjoy yourself. And yeah, like, I don't think I'd be able to do like the union rep work if I hadn't spent loads of time talking to more people and like just getting the social skill stuff down. Or it would be a lot harder. It was like an easier fit. But yeah, like, Phoebes, I would never think that you seemed unconfident, so you did a very good job at putting the front up.
It's fully faking it till I make it. Like, I think the first few times, the actual first time I went on camera, afterwards I came off and I was like, okay, so that would be the last time. I'm glad I had fun while I was doing it, because they're never going to invite me back. Because like half the time it's just pretending, and that's something else about the internet, is you can just pretend. You can be the person that you would like to be, rather than the person that you think you are. And sometimes you surprise yourself, and you are the person that you want to be. And that's lovely.
Yeah, most of the time I do play some sort of a character. Like, I'm not as annoying in real life. I swear.
I think you're annoying. I think you're hilarious. But then maybe that's because I'm annoying in real life.
And also you're new. But yeah, like, I think so. But I think that does clash with some people, because like I got into the internet. It was like got into like content creators, I guess, for lack of a better term. They were just making videos back then. That's all they called it. But like, I got in with like the angry video game nerd, where he was basically inventing streaming culture, but he was like making whole movies out of it at the same time. And then I got into like a group of guys called Giant Bomb, who came from video game magazine to website sort of situations, where they either wrote for magazines or they did reviews online. Therefore, people knew them from like GameSpot, and then when they could start their own thing, it was like they had a built-in audience who came with them because they liked the personalities. And I feel like they were like a big on improv and stuff, and obviously like people were making whole movies on YouTube, and you were watching sort of stories play out. And that part always kind of stuck in my head as like, okay, that's probably the right way to do it, is you do like mini improv games to make the podcast like more fun. And it gives you that wall you can put up where it's like, this isn't really me. This is like me turned up to 11 and saying like outlandish statements that, unthought.
This is me saying yes to things I would never normally say yes to.
Or you just say like dumb shit like, I hate like this movie, and it's like, it doesn't hold up to scrutiny, because someone will be like, oh well, like last week you said it was all right and stuff. Like, yeah, that's true. Like, but the internet lets you have that little jump outside of like the sort of the penned in polite zone you have to like exist to get through normal life. But yeah, like it's great seeing people like shine on like Nerdy Up North videos and stuff. Like, I mean, Chris, you've always been hilarious, and it's been amazing seeing you do more and more videos. But this guy'll destroy you in the DMs though. Like, he might not say much on camera every time, but in text form, one of the funniest guys I've ever met for sure. But like, did you take any inspirations from like any early internet guys? Because they were definitely mine. Like, it was like video game podcasts, and then people making like crazy shit on YouTube, like Nostalgia Critic and like Angry Video Game Nerd, creating their own cinematic universes with their own characters and stuff. Like, that's definitely squarely my sort of online inspirations.
big thing about Jenna Marbles as well, because I felt like she was one of the first big YouTubers who didn't feel like she had to be nasty or play pranks. Like she was just like my thing is that I'm just going to be positive and like make this a space where just like I want to hang out. And I've always appreciated that kind of like let's just show up and do what we were going to do anyway, but on camera and maybe like dialed up a bit. And like let's not rip people. So I kind of big Jenna Marbles fan, I think.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
We might have lost the video for a second there.
That's okay. Time and space paused a moment for Jenna Marbles. I hope she's doing well.
Yeah, that's good. No, yeah, but that's the internet, you know, we lost connection. But there's no other way for us to make a podcast in this day and age. But yeah, like
Chris, do you have any?
Yeah.
Well,
do you have any like
what currently?
No, like sort of just when you were growing up, that kind of, if you've like took any pointers from or anything.
No, because I watch quite different kind of videos to you guys. So I remember when I used to watch, it was a YouTube competitor, I think, and it was called stupidvideos.com. Did you ever see that?
No, I'm gonna.
That feels like a very Chris website.
I'm gonna look it up and see if there's any.
Because the intro used to go at the start of every single video. It's a user submitted thing. It used to go stupid videos, and then it would go into someone like absolutely eating shit. Sometimes literally, but sometimes just like falling on themselves.
Is it this thing with like a weird Yeti as the logo? Like
it might have been. I can't quite remember.
Yeah,
but it was just like a video hosted channel that my cousin thought was better than YouTube, so I started watching them.
Alternate YouTube. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, people did have their own bespoke video players sometimes, if they had any kind of like web development backing behind them.
Well, and you had like Funny or Die, which I know is still a thing. For a while was huge.
Yeah,
absolutely huge.
I don't think I saw their stuff until they had gone into like almost like TV level budgets, you know. So so you'd be like, I
remember watching the Pearl, the landlady, which is like a child showing up drunk demanding his rent money.
I've seen that one. I didn't know that was Funny or Die.
That's Funny or Die, and also Between Two Ferns, but that's kind of the later, like Jake says, that's the more like budget where we can get a barber to come on.
I have definitely seen that landlord thing. Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
But
that's the kind of that's the kind of videos that I watched growing up, but like more recently I just watch people who are just like normal. No one's putting on like a character or anything like that, or saying
no one's screaming.
No one's screaming. I do remember that Angry Video Game Nerds, and there was Rooster Teeth. There was a bloke on there, used to be a plumber. He used to have a thing where he used to rage quit games because they were like obscenely hard. I thought it was funny for like a couple of videos and that, but at the end I'm just like, he's just shouting at the screen.
Do you know there's a really wholesome like Japanese version of that? I can't remember off the top of my head what its name is, but it's like a guy who goes through and just plays like old video games and completes them, but he's like dead wholesome and like nerdy, and he even got like his own video game where you sort of took his role and played like fake video games, but you could like read the magazine of it in the game and stuff. But yeah, like lately I'm still following some of the same people from like 2010 and stuff. Like the Giant Bomb guys are still around in some form. I subscribe on Patreon to a few of them who've split off and done their own like independent thing. It's just nice to have that like
made Chris's day.
No, I've just remembered someone else I watched that I forgot about. There was these people called Matt and Pat who did Super Best Friends. Have you
Yeah, I've heard of
them?
them. Yeah.
Ah,
I used to love them. I was absolutely gutted when they broke up. But I still kind of watch them now because I do Twitch streams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's Matt and no, it's Pat and Wooly. But but they just went through like gaming news, and they just sometimes made skits based on like the lore that the audience have said.
Oh,
Yeah.
did any of you guys ever see Mega 64, the YouTube group? They were the ones who would go
No.
out into the real world and do like video game stuff, like kind of prank-ish. They were never like actively antagonistic to people, but they would like the one I remember the most is like a guy would be like standing there with like a big coat on, then someone would punch him, like, you know, from them, and then loads of coins would just fall out of his coat, you know, like a beat 'em up guy and stuff like that. And they would just confuse people really by like there's one where he like pretends to be the Shenmue guy, and he's just walking like you know like a PS1 character walking towards people and asking about the forklifts and like the Mad Angel gang and stuff like that, like going into shops and stuff. I'm glad I never got into the real world prank side of like actually trying any of that stuff, because I feel like that's dangerous up north.
yeah. I think it could be dangerous anywhere.
Yeah, true.
I do like that. There is like a genre of pranks where it's not like the actual pranks, where it's just like the person who is having the prank done on them, they kind of go, actually that was quite funny, instead of being like having the arm chopped off or something,
or punching them
going,
immediately.
The victimless crime.
Victimless ones. I can't remember what it's called now though.
I don't know, I feel like Top Grumps
do
do veer into the what's the opposite of a victimless crime? A regular prank crime.
A crime. Yeah, like you're just a crime.
You guys are pushing it sometimes. We need more wholesome Chris to level the playing field. That's a good thing. I wanted to quickly touch on, like, how do you guys feel about the group work element of what we do at Nerdy Up North? Because I have noticed a lot of people go it alone, and we've lost people who've kind of tried to be more alone about it and kind of clashed against the group atmosphere. But to me, growing up and seeing a lot of people who did share channels and stuff, I was like, well, this is the natural way, everyone should do it. And then when I got on Twitch, I was like, it's all separate islands, and you know, like the viewers are spread so far, like there's no one person watching like the same thing anymore. But like, how's that felt for you guys? Like, because I came up in like music and stuff, so I've always been in bands, and you know, people clash, people get on, and I think it's, in my personal opinion, it's worth it though. You get better stuff when you've got a group, I feel like.
I fully, wholeheartedly believe that in every aspect of life, collaboration will get you further than competition. Genuinely.
Yeah.
And I think, like you, I'm theatre and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So like doing like stage management and doing a lot of behind the scenes, like soothing of egos.
Yeah.
And just trying to get everyone on stage and off stage safely and things like that. And so there's part of me that's like, even if you're like going on stage for a solo, there's a whole crew behind the scenes that need that just feels natural and right to me. And I don't think I'd want to do it by myself so much. I don't think I'd want to talk about an anime every week, unless I had Chris being like, what did you think? Like it wouldn't feel the same.
It does. It feels weird when they're all like pure solo people who never like work with anyone. Like, because like I had a rough time with Nerdy Up North being like, well, no one cares what I think. Like, I still have a rough time with like reconciling that now, and I'm just like, but you know, no one really cares what I have to say about it. Like, I just don't understand how some people are the total opposite, where like everyone cares about what I have to say.
It's like being in a normal conversation with someone that you know. You don't hold back and say, he won't care what I thinks about that film.
No, you don't. You don't think about it when it's not like a recording, I guess.
Yeah. Having that kind of little black lens pointed on you creates like a self-awareness, I think.
Yeah.
And
Like-
it can be
Like
disarming if you haven't got someone to talk to.
You sit a little bit straighter, don't you, and be like, well, not Chris.
I speak posher. I'm sure I speak posher.
When you go
I'm sure when Chris hits record, I'm sure I go far less
It was,
normal. Suddenly the diction comes in.
you swear a lot less as well.
I do.
Well, yeah,
That's
but
true.
I guess I feel because in the back of my head I'm like, okay, be a little bit professional and speak a bit more clearly and swear a bit less. Whereas Paul swears more, I think, when the cameras are on. But it's great that you can have like that. Everyone's got a different kind of attitude to like how they feel about it. But yeah, like how have you found stuff like that, Chris? Like, you know, you've kind of like stuck with Lee, but you've been doing a lot of stuff with like me as well. Like the only thing I'd kind of clash up against is like the organization of it. Like, I think that's like the worst part, and I think that puts some people off collaboration. But like Phoebe says, it's worth it when you get there.
Do you mean collaboration as in like with someone on the same video or working with someone on a video?
Well, both, I guess.
I've kind of done both with the Obsidian Fleetloft, like the Spotlight, where I've had to like wrangle people, often from America, so it's at dodgy time zones. It'll be like 11 o'clock at night where I'm recording and I'm normally in bed by 10.
Yes, because I did like a mini interviews thing that I just got into my head. I was like, that'll be fun, and it was like, you know, it's like 4 or 5 people who weren't like that affiliated with Nerdy Up North, and that did feel scary when you're like, okay, will you show up at 7 in this like chat, please? Like, but you don't. If you don't know them that well, you're like, well, I hope they show up, type of thing. Like, yeah. It feels like you're putting a lot of yourself on the line.
kind of, but to be fair, as long as you're like open and honest about what you want to do, I think most of the time they're on board.
Yeah.
And if they've agreed to it, they're kind of like, because I've talked to people who weren't happy with that idea of them being on camera. Yeah. So you like, right, you can turn your camera off. I can make these exceptions, or do whatever, and it's kind of like. You taught them before, and they kind of come out the shell more. The more you give into it.
That's a good point.
Sorry, the more you put into it.
Yeah.
But like even behind the scenes as well, I've noticed for if I'm wanting to do something stupid on a video, like a little edit or something like that, I'll look myself. But if I know Paul's done something similar or anyone else. I've asked you about audio stuff as well.
Yeah, but which I feel like I'm terrible at explaining that, but I think it's just because it's ridiculously complicated digital audio.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I had a bash myself, and I was like, this just isn't working.
Yeah,
but it's. I think it's just the more you put yourself out there and ask, or are willing to have people come to you and say, "Can you show us this?"
Yeah,
they'll do it. I think.
Yeah,
it ends up better for everyone, because I know if I can go to anyone in the Nerdy Up North, like even Adam would probably show something on the guitar if I asked him.
Oh yeah. And yeah, like I've got all the time in the world to like show people stuff. Like I said, digital audio is just incredibly boring, and and I start losing. I can tell when people switch off when I start trying to explain things.
I think it's kind of different where if I go to you and I'm like, Jake, my video sounds like I'm underwater, like is there any tips you can give? And I'll hop on a video call or whatever, and you're like, try this, and you've got to equalize the thermometer or something.
What I've got to do with you though is stop you from clicking around, because if there's any like pause in like stuff, your mouse just is like tweaking like anything you can find. Which
both his biggest strength and his greatest weakness is that Chris is just like, we'll just give it a bash.
Yeah. But like, there's a good curiosity there, which does come in handy. But yeah, like it took us a few days to like get this call sort of organized, but I'm glad we did because it's been a fun conversation. And technically, I think we'll be first to do the community podcast, which is good for our egos because we'll always be able to say that.
Yeah,
Number one.
I don't
Number
know.
one.
I don't know if Lee's Mission Impossible videos might have made it onto the first ones on the community podcast playlist.
Well,
just to give the man his credit, because he thinks that I don't give him credit for everything he does, but secretly I come to.
Yes, I've been enjoying Lee's videos because again, sort of recap stuff is definitely something I've watched a lot of, so I can act like I've seen something, but really I've only seen a recap video of it. Now I'll be able to pretend forever that I've seen Mission Impossible movies, when in reality I've only seen the first one and then played the N64 game a little bit and hated it. But yeah, like I think the one thing that I sometimes clash with Lee and Chris about is like they'll get an idea and they'll want it done like tomorrow, and I'm like, well,
yeah.
But if we planned it for like a week or two, it'd be really good at the end. I'm not saying like you guys do a bad job. I'm just saying that's how my work process works. Is like plan it for a few weeks. Yeah.
I've had that before with the other videos that I've done, and it's like the longer in advance I plan it, the more likely it's going to fall through.
Oh, you just
so
drop
I've
it.
kind of yeah. So I'm just like, right, and if I'm going to do this, I need to jump on it straight away.
Yeah.
Now that I've got this enthusiasm, I've caught it, I'm just going to do it.
No, that's valid as well. Like that's another thing that's interesting about the group work is you find out how different people work, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, like it's like with me and Sammy, I'm like, yes, we both love Marvel and stuff, and it's like I need to watch the film a few days before I sort of like collect my thoughts, but she prefers to watch it like and then jump in immediately, like straight into the podcast type of thing. And it's interesting how we can have different styles but then still come together and just make a good, like, you know, hour or two of conversation about the same thing, even though we had like different experiences doing it. Like I'm terrible at watching stuff if I'm making notes because I end up like pausing it and rewinding constantly and stuff like that. Probably not the ideal watching experience, but that's why I also like to make.
Not for anyone who's just watching it with you for enjoyment.
No, I'm always doing that stuff alone.
That might be for best.
But that's also why I like to take some things and not make any content about them, because I'm like, no, I want this just for me to sit and not worry about, like, but I'm fine to like watch Marvel films with a critical eye and stuff because like I'm not that bothered. I've seen them before. But like if I'm watching like the new episode of One Piece, I'm like, no, I'm gonna switch off the outside world.
I was about to ask you what's something that you wouldn't want to make content out of.
I think One Piece. I think it's too precious to me. Like, I could obviously say lots about it, but I don't need anything attached to it. I'm like, no, One Piece is for me to sit quietly and enjoy. Like, have you guys got anything?
I want to pull it apart.
Yeah, because that's why I don't go on Reddit about stuff like that, because they'll start like making theories about like what's going to happen at the end, and I'm like, no, I don't want to think about this, because now if it comes true then it'll feel like it's been spoiled. But yeah, is there anything for you two that you wouldn't want to make, like you wouldn't want to make a video about just because it's like you don't want that?
Probably something that's like got a absolutely massive violent fan base. Do you know, when people just like go mental at the drop of a hat? Because I'm like, if I like it, I'll say an opinion. Like, I said I didn't like Freyrin, the anime, on one of the anime clubs. I mean, I'll probably watch it and I'll probably think it's all right, but at that time I thought it was shite.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't have a solid enough opinion on it for people to take it seriously.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, Phoebe, is there anything you would avoid?
So there are a couple of games that I don't stream.
Yeah.
but that I love. So, and everyone's been doing Oblivion Remastered recently, but for me, Skyrim is a game that I love deeply, and I have like sunk many, many hours into, and also modded to hell.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where it's almost unrecognizable.
Oh, that's
as a
fun.
game.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think, oh, should I do a Skyrim stream? And I'm like, no, that one's just for me. I don't want to have to do anything other than enjoy this.
I realized that I didn't
game.
like streaming Monster Hunter because I was like, oh no, I actually want to sit in the camp and like organize my items and like, and I know I would probably be fine to do that online, but there's something in my head that is like, no, you should do that on your own time. And then what I realized was like, but that's actually the fun part that I enjoy, is making the wish lists and being like, oh well, I need to make these 5 things, therefore I'm gonna go and grind the same thing over and over.
Hunt this monster 12 times.
Yeah.
So Jess takes the mick out of me because because when I play Skyrim, she's like, oh, are you playing the inventory management game? Because I like to collect one of every book in the game whenever I do a run,
and put them on your bookshelf,
and then put them on my bookshelf with my wizard power.
Yes.
So like I have to and they all have to be alphabetical order as well.
Oh, nice.
and sometimes I do like a Dewey Decimal System thing. So it's like that would be so deathly dull for someone to watch me just like fiddle with the books and check which ones I'm missing.
It might not be, but it's also that's for you type of thing, and if you don't want to share that, you shouldn't feel like you have to. No, I'm the same, because like there's some games where I like I role play like in my head, like I don't like, I'm not like talking out loud or anything, like stop thief.
I am in Skyrim. I am
sometimes, but I just I like to like walk slowly sometimes, or just like be like, oh, what would this character do? Like in Dark Souls, and I like to read all the item descriptions and just like look at the weapons, even though I'm like never going to use them and stuff. And like I just feel like it's part of my experience that I don't want to share, and it's not for any like bad or like weird reasons. It's just like it just doesn't need to happen. But I'm glad I've at least got that block where I'm not like forcing myself to like share everything. So I think Chris, you've like run up a couple of games where you're like, oh, this is shit to stream. So was that for like similar reasons where you're like, oh, it's making it like less fun type of thing?
Do you know what it is? It's kind of a similar reason to you, because I love, at the minute I'm playing a game called Atomfall, which is kind of like Fallout but set in the northeast, or the northwest. I'll be playing that, but I'll be going around and I'll be reading everything, and I'll be doing stupid stuff like reading the graffiti on the wall. I'll be looking at the baddies, like, oh, what clothes are they wearing? Oh, there's a Geordie over there. Oh, he's obviously from like a bit of a weird accent. But it's like, that's not fun to watch. Like someone else watching me.
It might be, but
this is all in my head.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You just like, you don't have to. Like, I think that's what some people have forgot. Like, you don't have to share everything.
And actually, sometimes it's good not to. I think it's nice to have those boundaries between yourself and an online space.
Yeah.
And I think it's different in like a community like Nerdy Up North. It might, like, my boundary might be slightly more wobbly than it would be just like out in the general like Twitch sphere, because it's like that is an ersatz relationship. With anyone who you don't know.
Yeah, and like Nerdy Up North's like a mostly private group. It is on Facebook. We did that for a reason, so that none of the posts went public, so like anyone could comment on them, because it's like a safety net where everyone can feel a bit more comfortable. Like obviously, screenshots can happen. It's not that safe, but like, I see what you mean, where like there's stuff you just wouldn't post on your public Facebook thing, but you'd be like, you'd share in Nerdy Up North because most people are going to be cool about it, and you won't get some random person who's searching keywords or something like showing up. I think
trying to start a fight about something precious.
No one's tried to start many fights with us on Nerdy Up North. I think we're too small, so maybe it's a good thing that we're not that internet famous.
Too sweet.
But we will kill you in the comments if anyone says anything against us.
unsubscribe.
If anyone says anything mean about any of the people on screen, we'll get you, or we'll just delete your comments.
Yeah.
Phoebe already did.
I did. I was having none of it. I got overly protective of Chris on. Someone called him an idiot on Instagram.
Oh.
And I was like,
wow.
look, and Chris was like, next time just leave it because I'm happy to have an argument. And I was like, but I'm not happy to have people call you an idiot.
Yeah.
So that's a comment that's going to be like, I'm happy to have a constructive debate. Don't get me wrong, as we know, Nick. We disagree on stuff all the time, right?
Absolutely.
But in in a very respectful way, and I really respect your opinion. If you're going to come in and call me an idiot, it's a different game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I say, like sometimes when you're just discussing stuff, you don't put much thought past it, but then the other person might have put thought like past that level. And then that's the whole thing of going back and forth and being like, you're right, actually. Like, I never even thought about that. But internet comments are just like, I am right. And you get like shotgun blasted in the face with it. And, and then they're gone.
It was just someone going, you're an idiot. I disagree with you. And it's like, okay, well, there's nothing to work with here. So, And also I'm not about it, especially with like, people that I treasure and consider a good friend.
Yeah.
It wasn't about it.
That's the thing. Like, there's things I would like let slide against me that if anyone said anything to any of you guys, I'd be like, that's messed up. I'm going for the throat.
Tell me where you live.
But that's the flip side of the coin, isn't it? Like with the online communities, you sometimes get stuck in there with people who you would never hang out with, and hopefully there's some way you can sort of vaguely coexist.
Learn to make peace with each other.
But no, has anyone else got any final thoughts on internet life in 2025?
Oh my god, I really want Chris or you to do like a Jerry Springer style monologue.
Oh, like a proper final thought. Oh,
yeah. Which is unfair to spring on someone.
Well, yeah,
like Spring.
Jerry Springer used to always fade back in at the end, like after the thing had finished in his little box. I am not going to edit this video. I love live production, and I like to live produce things and just let it go. But no, like the only thing I hope is everyone is more happy in the future, and the politics do not consume us and destroy the internet we hold dear, unless the destruction causes us all to go back to forums, which I'd be very much happy about. Not even North forum site coming soon.
Take me back to pro boards.
Yeah. Any of you guys want to sign up? Chris, go for it.
I was just going to say, I've got like a thing about the internet at the minute. So it's like on Facebook, I just join random groups. So I'm in like loads of little town centres, loads of political groups.
He's in your town centre.
Maybe some like anti-vax ones, and I love it. I love hearing all the mental conspiracy theories, all of the stupid things people blame their own shortcomings on, and I love it. But saying that, I do sometimes have to have my own little space, which is normally the Discord at the minute, where I can just do nothing. I don't have to argue with everyone.
Yeah. That's true.
So I think people can get caught up in it, where it's normally the people who are mad about the conspiracy theories that the sons don't talk to them for.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's always important to have that retreat where you don't have to talk about it. You can just say, oh, I'm having fish finger sandwiches for tea tonight, and it'd be okay, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a whole other topic about that we don't have time to get into, about like curating your feed and not letting like just hateful stuff just fly into your feed. You gotta say I'm not interested in those kind of videos, everyone.
I just like to bathe in it.
Yeah.
I have a similar thing to Chris, but like I don't hang out in places that will make me
infuriated. Yeah.
yeah. But my thing is that I think that so the thing that I love about the internet is also the thing that I think is challenging about the internet, and that is everything is better with diversity, right? So nothing has ever suffered for being too diverse. Things suffer when you kind of close yourself off to things that are strange and new and scary. And respond with a kind of gut you're an idiot
like a push. Yeah
instead of a pull. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. And I think it's also okay to know when it's time to switch off, like Chris is saying, find your tribe, find your safe space, so that you can be open to the diversity of the internet and the beautiful things that will change in your life. And there is a way to do both.
Yeah. That's a great final thought right there. There's your final thought, everyone.
My Jerry Springer moment.
You
are not the father.
On that kind of subject, I just try and follow my very simple life motto, which is everything in moderation, including moderation. So
that's very nice.
It served me well. There's some nights just put your phone down and watch something on Netflix, and your friends will always be there for you in 2 hours. It's fine.
Yeah.
Apart from
as Jess likes to say to people that annoy her, go touch grass.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's get away from the screen and just touch some grass and then come back with perspective.
I could add a load of Elden Ring and roll in the grass. Does that count?
I think it does.
It's for interpretation, isn't it? The touching grass part. It can be literal.
It's whatever gives you perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna sign off here on the whatever we're calling this, the community podcast, the Jake, Chris, and Phoebes hour. I don't know. But thanks everyone. If anyone's if anyone's checked it out and had fun, and has their own thoughts, feel free to share them with us anywhere under the video, anything, in the DMs. We don't care. But yeah, we'll see you all down the line on some other silly video, I'm sure. Let's just fade back to black, everyone. Goodbye.
Should we do the internet noises again?